Yo, what is going on, guys? It is a beautiful Saturday night. We're gonna try to fight through all the Donald Trump protesters. Headed to the Kava bar right now. Get a little bit of work done. We got a Trump supporter. That's my father.
No, I'm neutral. I'm a neutral party.
He's neutral, I guess.
I'm actually from Switzerland. So.
Let me know if you guys think we look alike. People say we look like we're twins, so.
Well, the acorn doesn't fall far from the tree.
So this is my dad. We'll get him on the channel more in the future. He's gonna do some barefoot skiing tricks. But today, what I wanna get into is Tom Brady. It's the night before the Super Bowl, and I thought of a really interesting way to kind of spice up the channel. I've always been obsessed with kind of studying the world's most successful athletes and entrepreneurs, billionaires, just overall world-class achievers, and what their habits are, because researching Tom Brady, he has some incredibly unique habits that really I attribute to his extreme levels of success on the field. He is, I believe, 39 years old. He's the oldest non-kicker in the NFL. I believe he's the oldest starting quarterback in the NFL. And wow, the guy has just had an amazing season at an age where most people are far out of their prime. So I'm gonna dive in and give you 4 really unique tactics and daily routines that Tom Brady does that makes him a superhuman athlete and amazing performer. So the first habit is he actually goes to bed at 8:30 p.m. almost every single night in the off-season, wakes up at 4:30 a.m. That is actually really shocking, because most people have the illusion of pro athletes being in nightclubs and partying and popping bottles and, you know, dating supermodels, which I guess in his case is still true. But, you know, people have this illusion of pro athletes just having this crazy lifestyle in the off season, and Tom Brady actually admits he barely does anything. He goes to bed at 8:30 p.m., wakes up at 4:30 a.m. to 5 a.m. every single day, does his training really early in the morning. And there's actually this funny story, and I guess one day he was in the training room in the off season around 6 a.m. and a teammate came in at 6 a.m. and Tom Brady greeted him by saying good afternoon. So I thought that was pretty funny. But I just noticed about myself too, the days that I wake up and really just force myself out of bed at 5:30 to 6 a.m. are always the days when I accomplish the most, because the amount of distraction that comes as the day progresses is completely different than, say, from like 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. So if I'm just like, I get in the zone, I have 0 distractions to start my day, I always find that I have a lot more productivity throughout the day. And when it's noon and you've already done most of the important work of the day, it's just an amazing feeling. So I thought that was a really interesting fact about him. Second superhuman habit that I found really interesting is he actually follows an 80-20 diet. Now, probably not the 80-20 that you're familiar with, not anything to do with clean bulking, dirty bulking, all that. It actually is an anti-inflammatory diet. So he makes sure that 80% of his foods is alkaline and 20% of his foods are acidic. And this is so incredibly important, because the more acidic your body is, the more susceptible to disease, and in his case, injury, and just aging quicker, your muscles deteriorating, and a lot of negative things happen when your acid levels are too high and your alkaline levels are too low. So he makes sure that he has 80% of his foods are very high alkaline, so lots of fresh veggies, lots of fresh fruit, and only about 20% of his diet is lean meat. So he makes sure he gets in a lot of fresh fruit and vegetables. And obviously, I think he actually adopted the diet of his supermodel wife, Giselle. So they're on a very strict diet plan together. So next up, he completely eliminates sugar, gluten, any type of trans fat, basically any type of processed or artificial food he completely eliminates. And he doesn't even have like cheat meals. The biggest like guilty pleasure, I guess you would say, that Tom Brady indulges in is avocado ice cream. So this guy's diet is on point literally 365 days of the year. So when your cheat meal is avocado ice cream, obviously you got a super clean diet. So out of all the people that I've studied their diet stuff, he actually has, I would say, the most strict diet out of everyone, because most people adopt somewhat of a flexible dieting thing. Even I've been doing that recently for fitness. Alright, so my camera died around 2 a.m. so I'm finishing up the video here in the spare bedroom. But this is going to be the most applicable tip to your training. Now, when you do lots of bodybuilding and heavy weight training, what happens to your muscles is they get really short and dense. Now, this is actually completely opposite of what Tom Brady wants. He wants his muscles to be very long and soft and pliable. So think about it, as a quarterback, You're reaching back here, you're throwing, your rotator cuff is under a lot of stress, your ligaments are under a lot of stress. And when you get really short, dense, and very like tight and rigid muscles from bodybuilding and tons of heavy resistance training, you actually become really stiff. So this is probably the #1 thing that I'm trying to change in my workout regimen right now, is I'm trying to do lots of stretching, trying to do lots of pliability, and just lots of resistance band training to make the muscles more long and flexible and still have that strength, still have that mass. So it's kind of, it's tough to do both, because when you're weight training, you're tightening your muscle groups, and when you're doing the other types of resistance training and stretching, you're not really doing anything to build the muscle. So I think just doing a combination of, if I'm gonna do an hour in the gym, I'm gonna at least do 15 to 20 minutes of resistance band and really like pliability exercises to keep my tendons really good, because I wanna be an athlete. I wanna be able to jump and dunk on these videos and just be overall, like, I don't wanna wake up with stiff, you know, knee ligaments and a bad shoulder and just feel rigid. So that's probably the #1 takeaway that I got from Tom Brady, is just the fact that he's doing tons of stretching, tons of resistance band workouts, and he even does like things like yoga and very intense static stretching. So I definitely want to dive into a lot more flexibility stuff. So that is a summary of the 4 superhuman habits that I found of Tom Brady that really separate him from his competition and make him just a superhuman achiever, an amazing quarterback, in my opinion, probably the best quarterback of all time, best football player of all time. So let me know what you thought of this. What are you gonna take away and directly apply to your life from what you learned in this video? Because it's one thing to just kind of watch these videos and be entertained, but I want you to take action. I want you to start implementing these things into your life. So I know me personally, I'm gonna start to try to go to bed earlier. I wanna start to try to go to bed maybe, I don't think 8:30 is realistic for me, but maybe 10:30, and wake up consistently around 5:30, 6 a.m. And then the last tip, just doing the stretching and pliability and resistance band workouts is gonna be an awesome complement, because I feel like I'm getting kind of stiff and rigid from a lot of the bodybuilding. So just doing more stretching, doing some yoga, doing some resistance band, that is definitely gonna be in my arsenal. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys real soon.